In a small town deep in the heart of America, there was a school that everyone knew. It had tall brick walls and an old bell that rang every morning, marking the start of a new day. Inside this school, a janitor named Tom was busy at work. Tom was not just any janitor, he was the kind of man who took pride in his job. He believed that a clean school made for a better learning environment. Each day he would arrive early, armed with a mop and a bucket, ready to handle whatever the day had in store. This particular morning the sun was shining and the air felt fresh and crisp as Tom entered the building. The kids had yet to arrive and the school was quiet, like a blank slate waiting for stories to unfold. Tom rolled up his sleeves and got to work. He swept through the entrance hall, making sure every corner sparkled. He had a rhythm to his cleaning. It was almost like a dance. He hummed a soft tune as he scrubbed the tile floor, the mop gliding effortlessly. As he worked, he couldn't help but notice how the sunlight poured through the tall windows, casting rays that lit up the dusty air. For Tom, these mornings were a chance to collect his thoughts. Cleaning was soothing for him, a mindful way to prepare for the day ahead, but today felt different. There was a strange energy in the air, one that made him more aware of his surroundings. He finished mopping the entrance and stepped back to admire his work. The floor gleamed like it was brand new. It was then that he caught sight of something he had never noticed before. Right by the front door, there was a plaque mounted on the wall. He had walked by it countless times, but today the words seemed to call to him. Curiously, he stepped closer to read it. Below that, there were names etched in gold. Tom's heart raced as the sight of his name sent a jolt through him. Tom Mitchell, it said, right there among the names of teachers and administrators, all people who had changed lives, who had brought hope and inspiration to students. He blinked, trying to make sense of it all. For years, Tom had merely seen himself as the janitor, someone who cleaned up, someone unnoticed. But now, there, engraved in metal, was his name. This simple discovery rattled him. Did they really see him? Did he make a difference? His mind raced back to moments throughout his years at the school. He remembered the time a little girl named Sarah had stumbled upon him while he was cleaning. She had a tear-streaked face, and without asking, he handed her a clean towel, some warm words, and a smile. A few days later, she returned, showing him the artwork she had created, filled with bright colors and joy. "This is for you, Mr. Tom," she said, her voice small but strong. That day, he felt like he was part of something bigger. As he stood there reading his name, Tom felt a mix of pride and confusion. Why hadn't he ever thought of himself as part of the school community? He cautiously traced his fingers across the letters of his name, feeling the cool metal beneath his touch. It was a simple tribute, yet it made him ponder his path in life. Was it enough to simply clean the floors, or was there more he could offer? Tom stepped back, looking at the plaque one last time. He vowed he would bring a different energy to his work, as if he were not just a janitor, but a guardian of the school's heart. The wavering thoughts began to settle within him. Inspiration washed over him, as cleansing and refreshing as the mop in his hand. He decided he would turn this ordinary morning into something extraordinary. Hours had passed before the first wave of students burst through the doors. The noise was contagious as laughter echoed through the halls. Tom greeted each student with a smile, but now those smiles felt richer, loaded with newfound purpose. His eyes sparkled with a light that made him feel alive. He waved hello to the kids, no longer lingering in the shadows, but stepping into the bright light of the community. During lunch, Tom overheard snippets of conversations between the kids. They talked about their dreams, their fears, and their little adventures. For years, he had remained a silent observer, the background character in their school story, but today he felt empowered. As the children gathered in the cafeteria, he stood at the door, offering a warm greeting. "Hey everyone," his voice rang out stronger than usual. A few students turned around, surprised but pleased. They waved back, some even calling out, "Hi mister." He could feel a small spark ignite within him. Each acknowledgement filled him with warmth, and he thought to himself that maybe just a little kindness could create a bigger ripple. After lunch, Tom picked up his mop with renewed energy. He danced through the halls, mopping and humming, enjoying the rhythms of his work. The floors reflected his joy, mirroring the lightness in his heart. After a while, he bumped into Mr. Jenkins, the school principal. Mr. Jenkins stopped and gave Tom an approving nod. "You're always doing a great job, Tom," Mr. Jenkins said. Those few words struck a chord deep within. Tom smiled wide, feeling like he had finally been seen for all he was worth. The day continued, but Tom felt different. He couldn't shake the feeling that each child added a thread to his life's tapestry. He began to pay attention to the little moments unfolding around him. He helped a lost first grader find his classroom. He offered advice to a student struggling with math, even using examples from his own life to connect. Each interaction added to the feeling that he belonged. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows through the school windows, he felt a wave of fulfillment wash over him. Tired, yes, but the type of tired that comes from a day well spent. When he finished his tasks for the day, he stood once more in front of the plaque. The name Tom Mitchell sparkled in the fading light. In that moment, tears filled his eyes. A flood of emotions crashed over him: pride, joy, and a deep sense of belonging. He He was no longer just a janitor, he was part of the school, part of the stories that lived within its walls. His name engraved there was a reminder that every role has value. A custodian can uplift spirits just as easily as a teacher can inspire minds. Tom knew that he would never look at cleaning the same way again. With each mop stroke, he would remind himself that he wasn't simply cleaning floors, he was helping to create a welcoming space for the future thinkers, dreamers, and doers. Each child who walked through those doors deserved warmth just as much as any educator. As he locked up the school that evening, he felt a bond stronger than he'd ever known. Tom left with a light heart and a purpose renewed. He looked over his shoulder one last time at the school he had always respected but never truly understood. He realized that sometimes it takes the simplest things, a mop and a plaque, to remind us of the importance of our contributions, no matter how small they may seem. That night, Tom went home and dreamed not of mops and buckets, but of children smiling and doors opening to endless possibilities. He felt a sense of hope for tomorrow, knowing that he would wake up ready to take on the world, one clean floor at a time. The unmistakable sound of a mop gliding across the floor echoed softly in the vast entrance hall of Riverview High School. Tom, the janitor, found himself in an uncharacteristic moment, suspended between the mundane and the extraordinary. The rhythm of the mop seemed to respond, almost as if daring him to discover something new. Just then, a beam of sunlight poured through the tall windows, casting a warm glow on the polished tiles. Tom stepped back for a moment, wiping the sweat from his brow, feeling a strange energy swirling around him. It was as if the air itself was charged with anticipation, whispering secrets only he could hear. He had been scrubbing the same floors for years, but today held a promise he could not yet understand. As he finished mopping and admired his work, a glint of gold caught his eye. Turning, he saw it, a plaque mounted just above the entrance door. The Hall of Excellence, it read boldly, letters shimmering under the sunlight. He took a few steps closer, curiosity tugging at him. The names etched there, framed by a polished wooden background, celebrated the achievements of teachers and leaders of the school. But as he leaned in, his heart raced. There it was, his name, Tom Mitchell, nestled between revered educators and celebrated contributors. A wave of disbelief washed over him. He echoed softly. He traced his fingers over the engraved letters, feeling as if the world around him had come to a halt. Before today, he had merely seen himself as the janitor who cleaned up after everyone else. But in that moment, everything shifted. Did they actually recognize me? Did they understand what I contribute? His mind buzzed with the weight of the revelation. Cleaning wasn't just a task, it was a vital role in the life of the school. Memories flickered through his mind like images from an old film reel. There was the time a young girl named Emily had spilled her juice all over the cafeteria floor during lunch. He had rushed over with paper towels, quickly helping her while offering gentle smiles and encouraging words. Her shy smile of gratitude had brightened his day. But was that enough to be remembered? Could such small moments lead to something greater? Lost in thought, he sank to the ground and sat for a moment, gazing at the plaque. This quiet recognition ignited a fire in him. Tom was more than just a background character. He was part of a larger narrative, one woven into each lesson learned and each friendship formed within these walls. Pushing himself back to his feet, Tom resolved to head into the day with renewed purpose. Each child who stepped through the entrance brought the potential for joy, laughter, and success. And here he was, a steward of that journey, at once invisible and crucial. As bell rings, signaling the start of the school day, the hall began to flood with students. Laughter rippled through the air like music, and their youthful energy was contagious. Tom positioned himself at the door, a wide smile spreading across his face, feeling unusually bold. He called out, voice filled with warmth. Surprised, a couple of students paused to respond, their faces lighting up at the uncommon sight of Tom standing there with such enthusiasm. "Morning, mister," a boy shouted back, grabbing the attention of others. Buzzing conversations embraced him, and for the first time he felt a sense of camaraderie. He wasn't just the janitor, he was a member of this vibrant community. Throughout that day, he found himself immersed in small interactions. He watched as the young kids crowded the hallways, sharing tales of their dreams for the future. One girl declared with wide eyes. With every laughter and cheer, Tom felt a swell of pride in knowing he contributed even a little to those dreams. Time passed quickly, and soon it was lunchtime. Hoping to continue his newfound connections, Tom decided to roam the cafeteria where students were gathered around tables, packed with noise and excitement. Another wave of determination surged through him. He approached a table where some students were struggling to fit their lunch together. He asked, leaning in with genuine interest. The students exchanged glances, confusion painted on their faces. "It's just lunch," one boy muttered, but Tom's enthusiasm was infectious. "Even superheroes need their meals," he joked, eliciting laughter from the table. They warmed up to him in that moment, sharing their stories over half-eaten sandwiches. One girl, Anna, spoke passionately about the upcoming science fair, and as she described her project, Tom saw glimmers of ambition and excitement in her eyes. He listened intently, asking questions and offering encouragement, marveling at how alive the room felt. His heart swelled with pride, understanding that while he may not have been a teacher, he was shaping these moments of connection, creating an atmosphere ripe for inspiration and growth. As the lunch period ended and students filed out, Tom headed back to his cleaning duties, buzzing with joy. Each sweep of the mop felt different, now laden with purpose and meaning. This was not just a job for him, it was a mission to uphold the respect and knowledge within these walls. Days turned into weeks, and each morning Tom continued to greet the students with renewed energy. Every interaction left him feeling more connected to the spirit of Riverview High School. It no longer felt like he was merely a worker there, he was woven into the fabric of the school. One chilly December morning, as winter closed in, Tom spotted a group of students huddled together near the entrance. Concern etched their faces as they whispered amongst themselves, clearly anxious. Feeling a sudden urge to step in, he approached them with open curiosity. He asked, leaning down to their level. They looked up, revealing conflicting emotions. One brave girl spoke up. "We're worried about the talent show next week." Tom felt a familiar pang in his heart. He remembered those moments of doubt vividly. "Let me tell you something. Talent comes in many forms. The first step is putting yourself out there." With his encouragement, they began to share their ideas. With every word exchanged, their fears slowly unraveling, Tom felt accomplished. By nurturing their confidence, he was adding another chapter to the vibrant narrative of Riverview High. He reminded them that everyone had a place in the spotlight, and often it was the courage to try that mattered most. As he walked away, Tom glimpsed the plaque again. There he was again, a name amidst the collective brilliance of the school. It no longer felt strange, it felt right. Perhaps he had earned that spot all along. One day after school, he noticed a crowd gathered by the entrance. Curious, he walked over to see what the buzz was about. A group of students stood there, holding up handwritten posters that read, "Thank you, mister," their faces beaming with pride and admiration. His breath caught in his throat. "We wanted to show you how much you mean to us," a boy named Jake said, stepping forward with shy confidence. Tom's heart swelled with gratitude as he looked around at the sea of smiling faces. These small acts of kindness made him realize how significant his presence had become. He was no longer just Tom, the janitor. He was Tom, an essential piece of their school's heart. Later that evening, Tom sat at the kitchen table, replaying the day in his mind. Each name, each smile echoed within him, filling the empty spaces he once felt. The plaque remained in his thoughts, a constant reminder that everyone has their role in the grand tapestry of life. With every mop stroke, every kind word, he was leaving his mark. Cleaning might have seemed trivial to some, but to Tom it blossomed into something monumental. He realized that contribution comes in many forms, whether through sweeping a floor or encouraging a dream. As he lay in bed that night, he closed his eyes and felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. The world felt right, and he knew tomorrow would come with new stories, new laughter, and new chances to inspire. In the heart of Riverview High, dreams were nurtured, laughter echoed, and among it all, Tom Mitchell truly mattered. The floor was clean, the plaque sparkled, and his heart was full. Tomorrow awaited, and he was ready. The sound of the mop against the floor echoed softly in the empty hallway, each stroke marking time in a place where laughter usually reigned. Tom, the janitor at Crestwood High School, was deep into his daily routine, the cool morning air filling the space around him. He methodically cleaned, the mop gliding easily across the polished tiles, but his mind wandered. There was an urgent feeling tugging at him, a sensation that something significant was about to happen. As he worked, he couldn't shake the feeling like the walls were watching him, the memories of years spent within them whispering in shadows. He paused for a moment, leaning on the mop, his breath coming in soft puffs as he gazed around. Just a few hours and the school would be bustling with kids, bright eyes full of excitement. They would fill the air with energy, chatter, and laughter, transforming the silent halls into a vibrant tapestry of life. Then he noticed it, the sunlight spilling through the tall windows, illuminating a spot on the wall. Something gleamed in the light. Curious, Tom stepped closer. It was a plaque mounted near the entrance. He had walked past it countless times, but today something compelled him to look. His heart skipped a beat. He leaned in closer, scanning the names listed. Family members of teachers, influential figures, and Tom stared, wide-eyed disbelief washing over him like a tidal wave. His name right there, alongside people he had admired. This wasn't just a plaque, it was a recognition he had never expected. Years of diligent work flooded his thoughts, sweeping floors, cleaning bathrooms, mopping up spills, but he had never considered himself worthy of this kind of acknowledgement. The wave of emotion was overwhelming. Did they really see him? Did they understand what he contributed to this place? For the first time, he felt the weight of his role, that being the janitor meant so much more than just cleaning up. He stepped back, the realization hitting him like a bolt from the blue. He had been a part of the school's heartbeat. Every scraped knee he had cleaned, every spilled drink he had wiped away, every encouraging word spoken to a child who had fallen, those moments built the foundation of this very community. As he stood there contemplating this new revelation, the entrance door swung open and a flood of students surged in, laughter ringing like bells. Tom knew today was different. With renewed purpose, he greeted the kids with a bright smile. "Good morning, everyone." The reactions were immediate. "Hey, mister," shouted a girl with pigtails, her smile wide and infectious. He had never felt so alive as he did with that simple exchange. Their energy flowed into him like a current, igniting sparks of connection he hadn't fully appreciated before. Throughout the morning, the air buzzed with excitement. Teachers called out to students, friends exchanged jokes, and clusters of kids gathered, whispering secrets only they would share. Tom swept through the halls, no longer merely the janitor, but an integral part of this tapestry of connection and community. He waved and shared smiles, feeling the camaraderie. During lunch, the cafeteria erupted with life, laughter ricocheting off the walls. Tom took a moment to breathe it in. He observed the kids. Some were seated with trays piled high, others stood in line chatting animatedly. While he began tidying up, he found courage stirring within him. He approached a table where some students struggled to open their milk cartons. He joked, stepping closer. The kids turned to him, hesitant at first, then giggles erupted around the table. One boy exclaimed, laughing as they handed the challenging cartons to him. With a flourish, Tom demonstrated how to open the cartons, making a show of his technique. Suddenly, the mood shifted and they cheered as he nailed it. See, problem solved. His heart overflowed with joy, invigorated by their laughter. The days turned into weeks, and Tom transformed into a visible presence in the daily rhythm of Crestwood High. Each moment spent with the students was precious. He'd listen as they shared stories about their dreams and fears, their aspirations looming like stars against a dark sky. "I want to be an artist," one girl said brightly, her hands animated as she spoke. Tom found himself inspired, eager to help plant the seeds of confidence in these budding futures. He remembered a particular afternoon that felt extraordinary. He was cleaning the gym after a raucous basketball game. The excited buzz of victory had hung in the air, but as the excitement faded, the gym emptied, leaving only echoes behind. Suddenly he heard a voice. A lone girl stood in the corner, practicing her free throws. He called out, leaning against the wall. She startled and turned, embarrassed at having been caught alone. "Just trying to get better," she mumbled, cheeks flushed. He asked with a grin. The girl hesitated, but then nodded. Tom stepped onto the court, demonstrating foot placement, the angle of the elbow, and the flick of the wrist. With every shot she took, her confidence grew. They laughed, they played, and he watched her transform from a shy girl to a fierce competitor right before his eyes. He encouraged as she sunk another basket, the joy on her face mirroring his own. After the session, she turned to him. "Thanks, Mr. Tom." Those words stuck with him. He did care deeply. And he realized this was the essence of his job. Every interaction mattered. It wasn't just about cleanliness. It was about nurturing the environment that allowed these kids to flourish. As winter approached and the holidays drew near, the school underwent a transformation. Decorated trees filled the halls, lights twinkled, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and cinnamon. In the midst of the festivities, a powerful idea struck Tom. He suggested a service project where students could write letters to local shelters, sharing their hopes and dreams, bringing warmth to those in need. Excitement buzzed through the school when the idea took hold, prompting students to share their thoughts. Tom watched as they poured their hearts onto paper, expressing not just their wishes but also their empathy. They interacted and collaborated, igniting a spark of connection among them. On the day the letters were sent off, Tom stood at the entrance, smiling proudly at the students who had come together for something greater than themselves. It was a culmination of their spirit, and Tom felt both humbled and radiant. But then, on the final day before winter break, something unexpected happened. Tom was going about his usual cleaning routine when a group of students approached him, nervously clutching something behind their backs. "Mr. Tom, we have a surprise for you," one of them said, her voice filled with excitement and a hint of nervousness. They revealed a handmade card, surrounded by the heartfelt signatures of every student in the school. "Thank you, mister," it read. A wave of emotion washed over him. A card from all of them. He felt his heart swell, battling tears of joy as he held the tokens of their appreciation close. "This means so much to me," he whispered, the words heavy with emotion. In that moment, standing amongst the laughter and the joy of those bright young faces, Tom realized he had truly become a part of this community. The plaque outside had not simply recognized a name. It had come to symbolize a journey of belonging, connection, and shared purpose. The weeks turned into months. With spring blossoms bursting into color, Tom continued to embrace his role with passion and commitment. He found himself wrapped in the lives of students, each one of them adding new layers of meaning to his existence. One day, he noticed a boy sitting alone on a bench, head down, lost in thought. Tom approached cautiously, sensing the weight of something heavy on the child's shoulders. He asked gently. The boy glanced up, tears shimmering in his eyes. "I didn't make the basketball team," he trailed off, pain evident in his voice. Tom crouched down to eye level. "Hey, it's okay. Not making a team doesn't define you. What matters is keeping your head up and trying again. You're only 12. He felt the boy's heart lighten as they spoke. It was moments like these that grounded Tom deeper into the fabric of the school. He understood how much his presence affected those around him. how small acts of kindness could resonate like ripples across water. As spring turned into summer, Tom found himself reflecting on every shared laugh, each high five, every moment of joy. He even shared birthdays with the students, receiving homemade cakes and heartfelt wishes from kids who had once been strangers. He was no longer just the janitor. He had become their confidant, their cheerleader, and a vital part of their school's heartbeat. One warm June afternoon, the school held its annual end-of-year assembly to celebrate achievements. Tom was invited to the stage, nervous excitement fluttering in his stomach. As he stood before everyone, the room fell silent, all eyes focused on him. The principal stepped forward, the respected figure sharing kind words about Tom's impact. Today we honor not just the student leaders, but every individual who makes Crestwood High a wonderful place to learn, and that includes you, mister. The applause that followed was deafening. Tom's heart raced as he gripped the microphone, overwhelmed by emotion. I've always believed that everyone has a role to play in the story we're writing together. It's not about the title or the job, it's about connection and support. As the applause echoed around him, Tom felt a wave of gratitude. The plaque by the entrance wasn't just a marker of recognition, it was a testament to the connections he had built with every child who passed through those doors. He understood profoundly that worth is not always found in the grand gestures. Sometimes it's in the smiles you share and the dreams you help foster. Years later, Tom would reminisce about that pivotal day when he mopped the floor and noticed his name etched among so many others. It was a day that changed everything, revealing not only his value but opening doors to the innumerable possibilities that existed when people come together. In the heart of Crestwood High School, surrounded by laughter, dreams, and endless connections, Tom Mitchell found himself, not just through a name on a plaque but through the love and hope shared each and every day. And every floor he mopped was just another step in the beautiful journey of belonging. The mop glided across the polished floor, the bristles whispering against the tiles, creating a rhythm that echoed in the empty hallway. Tom, the janitor, took his time, enjoying the solitude before the storm of students arrived. Each stroke of the mop was a familiar task, yet today something felt different. The early morning light filtered through the tall windows, illuminating the dust particles like tiny stars dancing in the air. As he worked, he paused to catch his breath and looked around. This school held memories, the laughter of children, the echoes of lessons taught, but Tom often felt invisible, just a shadow moving in the background, cleaning up after others. Little did he know that today would change everything. After finishing the hallway, he turned towards the main entrance, a routine part of his daily duties. It was there he noticed something shining on the wall. Curious, Tom stepped closer, his heart beating a little faster. It was a plaque mounted right beside the entrance door. In honor of those who serve, it read, surrounded by a collection of names, each one a testament to contributions made to this community. He blinked, disbelief washing over him. How could this be? Tom had always seen himself as just the janitor, the one who cleaned the floors while teachers and students created the magic. But now he realized that he was part of this story too. The breath caught in his throat as his mind raced. Years of hard work flashed before him, the spilled juice cleaned up, the care he took in making sure each classroom was ready to welcome students, the kind words shared with shy kids who needed a little encouragement. All those moments, all those small acts of kindness that he had brushed aside now seemed monumental. Standing there, Tom felt a warmth spread through him. He wasn't invisible. He was part of something larger than himself, part of the heart and soul of Crestwood High School. That plaque was not just a list of names, it was a mosaic of the community, and he was honored to have a place within it. Just then the school bell rang, signaling the arrival of students. The door swung open and a wave of noise poured in, laughter, chatter, footsteps echoing across the floors. For a second, Tom felt overwhelmed but set his shoulders back and embraced the moment. Today would be different. He was ready to step into the light. He called out, his voice ringing with newfound confidence. Heads turned and a few familiar faces lit up with surprise. "Hi, mister," a girl shouted back, waving her hand. That small gesture, that simple acknowledgement felt like a small victory. Tom returned the wave, his heart swelling with warmth. As classes filled the hallways, each moment brought connection. He watched the students dash from class to class, notes being exchanged, laughter cascading like rivers of sound. He found himself smiling at their energy, feeling more engaged than ever before. With each interaction, he realized that he could be more than just the janitor. He could be a part of their stories. At lunch, the cafeteria buzzed with life. The aroma of pizza filled the air, and students shared tables, deep in conversation. Tom took it upon himself to roam between the tables, his mop in hand, curiously observing the atmosphere. He saw some kids struggling with their lunches and decided to step in. He offered, leaning down to the table. The group looked up startled, then laughed as they enthusiastically pushed their cartons toward him. "Please, mister," one boy exclaimed, his face bright with mischief. With a flourish, Tom cracked open the cartons effortlessly, putting on a little show. The kids cheered, and for the first time he felt like a superstar. Their laughter echoed in his ears. It fed him in a way that cleaning never could. The joy radiating from those students was electric, and he was grateful to be part of it. Soon after finishing up in the cafeteria, Tom headed back to the hallway and continued mopping. In between strokes, he recalled how this kind of work was often seen as menial. But in that moment, as he thought about the laughter and interaction that punctuated his routine, he realized how important it all truly was. Being a part of their day was significant, and he wanted to make it count. Weeks went by, leading into the winter season. The holiday decorations adorned the school, and Tom saw the excitement of students as they prepared for the upcoming winter break. One chilly afternoon, he noticed a group of students crowded around an empty bulletin board, discussing ideas for the annual winter talent show. He felt drawn to their energy like a moth to a flame. A curly-haired girl suggested bouncing on her toes. The others murmured in agreement. Tom approached them, his heart racing with the knowledge that he had something to contribute. Why not add a twist? He chimed in, hoping to inspire them further. The kids turned to him, eyes wide with interest. Really? One boy said, a grin spreading across his face. They began to throw ideas back and forth, laughing and brainstorming together, and Tom watched as their excitement ignited the air around them. With each passing day, Tom immersed himself more deeply into their lives, but one afternoon, as winter settled in, he noticed a boy sitting alone on a bench, his shoulders hunched, face hidden in his hands, and Tom felt pangs of concern. He asked gently, drawing closer. The boy looked up, visibly upset. I don't know if I'm good enough for the talent show. Everyone seems so talented, and I don't want to embarrass myself, he admitted, his voice cracking. Tom crouched beside him. Listen, everyone feels that way sometimes. You have something unique to offer, even if you can't see it yet. It's not about being the best, it's about sharing your passion. As their conversation unfolded, the boy's walls began to crumble. Tom shared his own fears and vulnerabilities, moments when he had doubted himself. This openness galvanized a connection between them that transcended age and title. Days turned into weeks, and winter was slowly giving way to spring. The school buzzed with the anticipation of the talent show. Tom noticed the excitement mixing with nerves, the perfect blend of hope and fear that every performer feels. He made it his mission to encourage every single student he met. The day of the talent show arrived, and the auditorium was packed. The air was thick with excitement and tension as students showcased their talents: dancers, singers, comedians, and actors. Tom waited in the wings backstage, heart racing, feeling more like a proud parent than a janitor. When the shy boy from the bench took the stage, Tom's heart swelled with pride. As he began to perform, the audience erupted into applause and cheers. Tom felt a surge of joy as he watched him shine, a diamond under the spotlight. That moment, that celebration of courage, reflected everything he had believed about offering support and encouragement. As the show drew to a close, Tom couldn't shake the feeling of fulfillment. Each child who stepped into the spotlight, every act performed, was a testament to the heart of the school. Every person mattered in their own way. It was the emotions swirling in the room, the connection, the shared experience that created a home. In the following weeks, Tom continued his duties, but now it felt different. He was not alone, his heart felt fuller. Then came the day of the school assembly, the last event of the year. As the students gathered, buzzing with laughter and excitement, the principal approached Tom. "Mister," she asked, her voice filled with gratitude. The crowd fell silent, eyes fixed on him. With a mix of surprise and apprehension, Tom walked to the front. The principal began to speak about his contributions and dedication, how he had made the school a better place through his kindness. Then she unveiled a new plaque, in addition to the one hanging at the entrance, dedicating it to the heart and soul he had brought into their community. Tom stood there, speechless. The room erupted in applause, cheers shaking the walls as he looked out at familiar faces, ones he had come to know, ones who had become family over the years. He swallowed hard as tears brimmed in his eyes, not from sadness, but from pure joy. That plaque wasn't just a collection of letters. It represented the moments shared, the laughter exchanged, and the lives touched. It symbolized that every role, no matter how small it may seem, can create ripples of impact, changing lives for the better. As he stepped off the stage, Tom felt renewed. He was not just the janitor, he was a custodian of dreams, a guardian of moments, an integral part of a thriving community that lifted each other up. He walked back toward the entrance where the original plaque still gleamed in the light. He traced his finger across each letter of his name, feeling something deep within him shift. He had always mopped the floors. Now each moment spent in that school carried significance. He realized he was not just cleaning spaces, he was nurturing futures. With every stroke of the mop, he was writing his story, carving out his legacy in the hearts of those kids. The warmth within carried him forward with strength and purpose. Tomorrow awaited, bursting with potential, and he was ready to embrace it. The floor was clean, but the real work, building lives and connections, would continue, and he would be right there, part of it all. The mop glided silently across the polished floor, making its way through the empty hallway of Crestwood High School. Tom, the janitor, was knee-deep in his morning routine, beads of sweat forming on his brow as he pushed the mop back and forth. For years, this had been his life, waking up before dawn, cleaning floors, emptying trash bins, and making sure everything was spotless before the students stumbled in, buzzing with youthful energy. Today, however, felt different. There was something electric in the air, a whisper of anticipation that tickled the back of his mind. He moved with purpose, every stroke of the mop steady and rhythmical. As he worked, his gaze drifted to the familiar walls adorned with student artwork, photographs, and inspirational quotes. Every corner of this school was filled with memories, even if his presence often went unnoticed. As he finished mopping the last section of the entrance, Tom paused to catch his breath. He wiped his forehead with the back of his hand and stood there, gazing at the entrance door where sunlight streamed in like liquid gold. It was then that he noticed something sparkling at eye level. Curiosity piqued, Tom stepped closer. There it was, a plaque elegantly mounted on the wall. In honor of those who serve, it read. His heart raced. Was this some sort of recognition? He leaned closer, tracing the edges of the plaque with his fingertips. Names were etched in shining gold, a roll call of those who had made the school what it was. Then his breath caught in his throat. There it was, his name. Right there, between esteemed faculty and beloved coaches. The realization hit him like a heavyweight. His name was there, immortalized, alongside people he had admired for years. A flood of emotions surged through him. Had he really made that kind of impact? For so long, he had merely viewed himself as the man behind the scenes, someone whose work involved cleaning up the messes of others. But this was proof that he had somehow woven himself into the very fabric of Crestwood High. As the gravity of the moment settled in, Tom felt tears welling up in his eyes. This small plaque held so much meaning. It symbolized recognition, respect, and a place among those he had always seen as untouchable. His thoughts spiraled back to years spent within these walls, the countless times he had mopped up spilled drinks, cleaned up after events, and even lent an ear to kids needing support. All these moments now shining back at him. Just then, the sound of the school bell rang out, breaking the spell of silence. The door swung open and a wave of students spilled into the building, their voices a joyful cacophony. Laughter filled the hallways, and Tom felt an exhilarating jolt. Perhaps today would be different. Perhaps he could step into the light. He called out, his voice ringing more confidently than usual. A few heads turned, surprised but clearly delighted to see him. "Morning, mister," shouted a girl with a bright pink backpack. Tom couldn't help but smile. That simple acknowledgement felt monumental. As students dashed around him, he could feel warmth spreading within. He was not just the janitor, he was a part of their lives. Throughout the morning, Tom moved through the halls, continuing his cleaning duties but feeling like he had a renewed purpose. He observed the students' jokes shared between lockers, groups forming around shared interests, the excitement of conversations swirling around him. For once, he felt like he belonged. At lunch, the cafeteria buzzed with energy. The smell of pizza wafted through the air, and the sound of chatter created a vibrant melody. Tom took a moment to inhale deeply, letting the atmosphere fill him with joy. As he walked among the tables, he couldn't help but notice a table where a few students were struggling to open their milk cartons. He asked, leaning in with a grin. The kids looked up, startled initially, then burst into giggles. "Please, Mr. Tom," one boy exclaimed, laughter spilling forth. Feeling like a superhero, Tom took the cartons and with a little flourish opened them one by one, the kids cheering him on. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and shared joy, he felt a sense of belonging and purpose he had never experienced before. The days turned into weeks, and as winter approached, Tom continued to find himself immersed in the vitality of Crestwood High. Each day brought new interactions, be it helping a lost first grader find her way or sharing a quick joke with an older student. He realized that his role was more than just cleaning. He was there to nurture, support, and care for these young souls. One chilly December morning, as the school prepared for the winter break, Tom noticed a group of students huddled around the bulletin board. They were animatedly discussing ideas for the annual talent show, excitement dripping from their voices. Suggested a girl, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Tom couldn't help but be intrigued. That could be fun, he chimed in, wanting to encourage their creativity. The students turned to him, their eyes lighting up with possibilities. "Really?" another boy said. A flurry of ideas erupted around him, each student becoming more animated as the vision of their performance solidified. Feeling a deep warmth in his heart, Tom realized his presence had some weight, that he had a voice, a capacity to inspire. Week after week, he watched as the students rallied together, writing, rehearsing, and dreaming big. Each shared moment only reaffirmed his place in their lives. As the talent show drew near, Tom found himself in a constant state of anticipation. He was excited not only for the students, but also for what it meant for him. He could see the transformation happening not just in the kids, but also within himself. The quiet janitor was becoming a stalwart member of the community. Finally, the day of the talent show arrived, and nerves rippled through the air like an electric current. The school auditorium was packed, families gathered to support their budding stars. Tom stood backstage, heart racing, feeling the whirlwind of emotions swirl around him. When it was the shy girl's turn to perform, he held his breath, hoping she would shine. As she stepped onto the stage, her small frame lit under the bright lights, and in that moment, an immense wave of pride washed over him. She took a deep breath and began her routine, each movement looking more confident. The audience erupted in applause, and tears glistened in Tom's eyes. She had risen above her fears, embraced her passion, and he was here to witness it. As the night unfolded, the array of performances lit up the stage. Each act, from comedy to dance, demonstrated the vibrant spirit of Crestwood High. Tom felt a connection with each student, knowing he had played even a tiny part in their journey to this moment. After the last act, the auditorium resonated with cheers and applause. It was time for the closing remarks, and Tom felt anticipation course through him. The principal took the stage, thanking everyone, but what came next left Tom speechless. "Tonight, we also want to honor someone incredibly special to our school," the principal said. "Tom Mitchell has been an unwavering support for us, making sure our school is a welcoming and safe place. Tonight, let's give a round of applause to Mr." The crowd erupted into thunderous applause. Tom's heart raced as he stood there, surprised and overwhelmed. He had never sought recognition for his work, merely wanting to contribute, but now he understood the impact he'd had on so many lives. As he stepped up to the microphone, words failed him momentarily. All those years of cleaning and mopping began to coalesce into something much deeper than a job. Thank you so much. You all mean the world to me. I've learned so much from each of you. This is my home, and I just want to help make it better," he said, emotions thick in his voice. The gate between him and the students had fallen away completely now. As the applause surged around him, he knew that this was a celebration of not just his contributions, but of everyone coming together. Each smile and each cheer felt like a thread weaving them closer. In the weeks that followed the talent show, Tom found himself changed. The energy he felt was no longer just about the work he did. It was about the relationships formed, the lives touched, and the importance of the role he played. He had gone from an unnoticed janitor to a beloved member of the community. Seasons passed, spring turned into summer. Tom's name remained on that plaque at the entrance, a reminder not just of his work, but of the heart he had poured into the school. He found solace in the routine of tending to the school, each day a new opportunity to make a difference. One day, as he finished cleaning the gym after a basketball game, he noticed the walls were adorned with photos, the students captured in moments of victory, friendship, and laughter. He stepped back, taking it all in. It was a whirlwind of life, love, and community, and he felt honored to be part of it. Tom realized that every mop stroke, every smile exchanged, and every lingering conversation held power. He was the janitor, yes, but he was so much more than that. In this space, he had found purpose, connection, and belonging. As another school year came to a close, Tom reflected on how far he had come, the growth he had witnessed within himself and others. He had learned that sometimes the simplest tasks like mopping a floor could lead to profound change, not just for oneself, but for an entire community. That day, as Tom locked up the school for the summer, he looked up at the plaque one last time. His name would always be associated with service and support, but more than that, it represented the hard-fought journey of connection, understanding, and love. He walked away, heart full, ready to greet the future and whatever it may hold. Each floor he mopped, every corner he cleaned, would continue to echo with the laughter of the students he had come to cherish. Tomorrow awaited a new adventure loaded with potential, and he was more than ready to embrace it. The unmistakable sound of a mop scraping against the floor pierced the silence of Crestwood High School. Tom, the janitor, pushed the mop back and forth rhythmically, each stroke pulling him deeper into the routine he had embraced for years. He had arrived early this morning, as he always did, drawn by the peace of the empty hallways before the students arrived, but today felt different. An energy thrummed beneath the surface of his usual mundane tasks. Tom caught a glimpse of sunlight streaming through the tall windows, casting patterns across the shiny floor. It sparkled as if inviting him to take a moment to be present. What he didn't know was that today would mark a profound shift in the way he viewed himself and his place in this world. As he mopped, he glanced at the entrance door, the largest entryway in the school. His gaze landed on a plaque he had passed by countless times, yet somehow it had remained just out of mind. Curiosity nudged at him, coaxing him toward it. Leaning the mop against the wall, he stepped closer. The plaque was elegantly mounted, gleaming in the morning light. "To those who serve," it read. Tom's heart raced as he scanned the names etched into the shining surface. They were names of teachers, coaches, and all those who had poured their time and energy into making Crestwood what it was. Moments of pride swelled in him as he imagined each one, their contributions, their sacrifices, and then there it was. He blinked hard, taking a step back as disbelief washed over him. His name was among these heavyweights, people he had respected from afar all this time. The first thought that struck him was an overwhelming wave of embarrassment. How did I end up here? For so long, Tom had thought of himself simply as the janitor, merely the guy who swept floors and cleaned up the messes left by others. But reading that plaque shattered that perception in an instant. Memories danced in his mind, the time he comforted a nervous child during a school assembly, or the countless times he had picked up stray papers and spilled drinks, quietly ensuring everything ran smoothly. All of these little actions began to connect into something bigger. Maybe he was seen after all. The school bell suddenly rang, a jarring sound that snapped him back into reality. A flood of students poured through the doors, their laughter and chatter roaring to life. Their youthful energy zipped through the hallways, filling the space with an electric buzz. For a moment, Tom felt an exhilarating rush, a sense of belonging budding within him. He called out, his voice bolder than it had ever been. Heads turned, a few faces lit up in surprise. "Morning, mister," called out a girl with bright ribbons in her hair, her smile so wide it warmed his heart. That small moment felt monumental to him. He was no longer an invisible figure in the background. He mattered to these kids. Every smile exchanged, every situation tackled together began to weave a new narrative in his mind. The day progressed, and Tom took on the hustle and bustle of the school with newfound energy. During lunch, the cafeteria was a whirlwind of noise and activity. Kids gathered around tables, swapping jokes and sharing stories. Tom navigated the chaos, a mop in hand, but now he was more than a janitor. He was part of the rhythm of the school. As he maneuvered through the tables, he noticed a few kids struggling with their lunches. He asked, leaning down toward a table where a group was attempting to open stubborn milk cartons. They looked up, laughter bubbling to the surface. "Yes, please," one girl exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with mischief. With a smile, Tom took a carton and made a show of expertly opening it. The kids cheered, erupting in laughter. In that moment, he felt powerful, wielding influence in a way he had never imagined. His heart soared. As the weeks rolled on, Tom continued to connect with the students. Each day brought new interactions, helping a lost freshman find her classroom, sharing a joke with a high schooler who had just finished a tough exam, offering a warm smile to an outlet student who looked like they needed one. He began to realize how little acts of kindness could ripple outward. One crisp morning, Tom noticed a group of students huddled around a bulletin board, their voices animated. They were brainstorming ideas for a winter talent show, their bubbling enthusiasm infectious. Intrigued, he inched closer, catching snippets of their wild ideas. One girl suggested eagerly. Tom was instantly swept away by their energy. He chimed in, wanting to encourage their creativity. Their eyes lit up as they turned toward him, full of questions and ideas in the making. "What do you think, Mr. Tom?" one boy asked, grinning wide. "Absolutely, just be yourselves, that's what makes it shine," Tom replied. Those words were more than just encouragement. They were a validation of the collective ambition that lingered in the air. As the weeks turned into months, Tom watched the students grow through the preparations. They spent hours practicing, laughing together as they fumbled and tightened their act. It wasn't just about the talent show, it became a bonding experience that brought them closer. When the day of the talent show arrived, the school was abuzz with excitement. Families filled the auditorium, standing room only as everyone found a place to sit. Tom stood backstage, heart thumping wildly, nerves mingling with exhilaration. He had never felt so proud to be part of this community. Finally, the curtain opened and the performances began. Each act was greeted with cheers and applause. Tom felt a mix of pride and nostalgia wash over him as he witnessed the students he had come to know and care for stepping into the spotlight. Each performance resonated with energy, and he felt every laugh, every cheer as if they were directed at him. When the shy girl he had encouraged finally took the stage, he held his breath. Would she find her voice? As she opened her mouth, a beautiful sound poured out, filling the auditorium. The audience responded with raucous applause, and tears streamed down Tom's face. Every struggle, every moment of doubt melted away to reveal pure talent and courage. As the evening concluded, the auditorium erupted with cheers, and Tom felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had witnessed the rise of each student's spirit, and he realized that these moments could change lives. He had become a vital part of their journey, and in doing so, he had found his own place. After the show, Tom stepped outside to take a breath, his heart still racing. He gazed up at the night sky filled with stars, feeling a mix of pride and empowerment. Days turned into weeks, and the winter season transformed into spring. Tom continued his daily routine, but the light inside him had shifted. No longer just a janitor, he embraced his role as a mentor, a friend, and a source of encouragement. One day, as he finished cleaning up after a charity bake sale, he noticed a boy sitting alone at a table, head in his hands. Tom approached gently. The boy looked up, eyes filled with frustration. "I didn't win, and I thought I had a good chance." "Everyone said I was good," he said, his voice breaking. Tom crouched down beside him, a reassuring presence. "Losing doesn't define you. It's okay to feel disappointed, but remember, it only takes one step to get back up and try again." The boy's eyes met Tom's, uncertainty giving way to a flicker of hope. "Absolutely, everyone faces setbacks. The important thing is to learn from them and keep moving forward." Tom smiled, feeling a rush of warmth between them. Each interaction, each conversation seemed to radiate purpose. He was more than the janitor. He was a source of strength in the school, and it fueled him with a newfound mission. He wanted to spark that fire within every student, to show them the endless potential they held. As the end of the school year approached, Tom found himself celebrating not just academic achievements, but personal growth. He cherished each moment and felt gratitude for the community around him. One sunny afternoon, as he washed down the gym floor after a spirited basketball game, he found himself reflecting on the journey he had taken. He noticed a group of students taking pictures near the entrance, radiant smiles on their faces. They waved him over. "Mr. Tom," they urged. Surprised but delighted, Tom joined them, wrapping his arms around the students as they posed, the thrill of friendship bubbling around them. One boy suggested. Another chimed in. Tom's heart soared as he heard the words. They saw him as part of their story, a vital member of their school family. As summer rolled in, the school grew quieter, but Tom felt a sense of fulfillment lingering. He had found purpose, connection, and community in the very spot he had once felt invisible. Each name on that plaque by the entrance grew more important in his mind, a reminder that every role matters, from teachers to custodians. Those little moments, the laughs shared, the fears faced, the dreams nurtured created ripples into the lives beyond the walls of Crestwood High. And in every corner he cleaned, he left a piece of his heart. As he locked up the doors for the summer, he turned back and saw the plaque one last time. It gleamed in the fading light, still bearing his name, but now it represented so much more than just a title. It was a testament to relationships forged, spirits uplifted, and the realization that everyone's contribution mattered. Tom stepped outside, breathing in the summer air with a sense of peace. A new chapter awaited, and he was finally ready to embrace it. No longer just the man who mopped the floors, he had become a part of something profoundly beautiful, and that would never fade away. The early morning sun poured through the high windows of Crestwood High, casting a golden hue over the entrance hall. The sound of a mop swishing against the glossy floor echoed softly, creating a rhythm that felt oddly meditative. Tom, the janitor, pushed the mop back and forth with practiced ease, the familiarity of his routine bringing a sense of calm. But today, something felt different. As he worked his way toward the entrance, he caught a glimpse of the polished surface. Each stroke of the mop revealed a shine that seemed almost otherworldly. Feeling an urge to pause, he stepped back, leaning on the mop. There, just above the doorframe, was something he had seen countless times but never really observed, a plaque mounted on the wall. He murmured to himself, curiosity sparkling in his eyes. Drawn in, he moved closer, wiping a little dust from the surface. Tom's heart raced. He squinted, his breath catching as he scanned the list of names engraved in elegant letters below. Each name seemed to stand for something special: teachers, administrators, people who had made a real difference. He had long been just the one who cleaned up after their stories, but today felt different. Then there it was, his name, Tom Mitchell, etched in gold among the others. He stepped back, disbelief washing over him. This wasn't just any name, it was his name, a testament to everything he had done for the school. But was it real? Could he really be viewed this way? Memories flooded his mind like a tidal wave. The sticky floors after lunch, the soda spills he had mopped up during sports events, the kind words exchanged with shy students who needed a little lift. In those moments he felt small, like he was merely a ghost in the background. But now, seeing his name there shifted everything. A warmth spread through him, he finally felt a sense of belonging. Just then, the echo of the school bell pierced the air, pulling him from his thoughts. Doors swung wide open and students surged into the hall, their laughter spilling like sunlight into the long shadows. Fumbling to mask his overwhelming emotions, Tom smiled, his heart racing in time with the youthful energy fluttering around him. He called out, confidence surging through him. A few heads turned, surprised but clearly delighted to see him. "Hi, mister," a girl shouted back, her ribbons dancing in the air as she waved. Tom's heart soared. That simple exchange felt monumental. It was a recognition he had long desired but never allowed himself to believe could come. In the crowd, he was no longer just the janitor, he was part of this vibrant community. As the day unfolded, Tom moved through the hallways with newfound purpose. Every glance exchanged, every smile shared, stoked the fire of connection inside him. The kids, bustling and excited, transformed the school into a lively symphony. During lunch, the cafeteria transformed into a whirlwind of energy. The smell of pizza wafted through the air, mixing with the sound of chatter and laughter. Tom navigated through the tables, mopping up crumbs, but he could not shake off his growing sense of belonging. He approached a table where a group of students struggled with their milk cartons. He asked, leaning down with a playful grin. The kids looked up, startled, then burst into laughter. A boy declared, laughter spilling from his lips. With flair, Tom cracked open the cartons as if he were performing a magic trick. Their cheers echoed against the walls, and he felt a surge of warmth. In moments like these, he realized he didn't just mop floors, he created small moments of joy, and that feeling was intoxicating. The weeks rolled on. With winter approaching, Tom continued to immerse himself in the lives of the students. Each day brought fresh interactions, helping a lost freshman find her locker, sharing a joke with a senior bracing for finals, and those moments, once insignificant, blossomed into a tapestry of connection. He'd become the thread that wove through their experiences. One wintry afternoon, as the first snow dusted the ground outside, Tom noticed a cluster of students huddled around a bulletin board, their excited voices bubbling over with ideas for the annual winter talent show. The atmosphere was electric, a palpable feeling of creativity filling the air. One girl proposed, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. Tom felt a pull to join them. "You could add a song at the end," he chimed in, hoping to spark their creativity. The students turned toward him, their enthusiasm spreading like wildfire. "Mister," exclaimed one boy, his excitement contagious. As they shared ideas, Tom felt like an architect of dreams, building something beautiful alongside them. They laughed, debated, and crafted their vision, and with each moment shared, Tom realized he had fostered a new connection that transcended job titles. Weeks turned into months. The talent show grew more vibrant with each passing day as the students rehearsed and prepared. Tom was there every step of the way, supporting and cheering them on, witnessing their growth. They were more than just students to him, they had become a family. The day of the talent show arrived, and the energy in the school was palpable. Families filled the auditorium, the air thick with anticipation. Tom stood backstage, his heart pounding in rhythm with the beat of excitement outside. Each act was a celebration of courage and creativity, a testament to their hard work. When it was the shy girl's turn, Tom felt his heart in his throat. Would she find her voice? Would she shine? The moment she stepped onto the stage, the audience hushed and Tom held his breath. The girl took a deep breath, gently speaking into the microphone, and when she began to sing, Tom's heart swelled with pride. Her voice filled the room, pure and beautiful. As applause erupted from the audience, tears brimmed in Tom's eyes. He had witnessed her transformation from uncertainty to confidence, each note capturing the essence of her spirit. The talent show became more than mere performances. It became a vivid display of blossoming dreams and possibilities. After the show, Tom stepped outside to catch his breath, the weight of the evening settling in like a comforting blanket. He gazed at the stars twinkling above, feeling a mixture of pride and empowerment. Days turned into weeks, and the winter season transformed into spring. Tom found himself still deeply intertwined in the lives of Crestwood High students, venturing beyond the confines of cleaning. He had become a mentor, a friend, a source of guidance, and while he worked diligently, those kids had a way of bringing light into the routine. Each small act of support became a stepping stone, building a strong foundation in their friendship. One day, he found himself talking to a boy sitting alone, clearly struggling after losing a basketball game. "It's okay to feel upset," Tom said gently, "but remember, every loss brings growth." The boy looked up, uncertainty fading from his eyes. "Absolutely, and I'll be here cheering you on," Tom replied, realizing that uplifting had become a significant part of his own identity. Days turned into weeks again, and soon it was time for the year-end assembly. As students gathered, a familiar, nervous energy filled the air. In the midst of the excitement, he felt the urge to step back and observe. The principal took to the stage, beginning her speech with enthusiasm. Her voice fizzled into the background as Tom stood there, reflecting on his journey. He never thought a plaque could change someone's life, especially not his. Tom's heart quickened. It felt like the world had slowed. His heart roared in his chest, and a sense of disbelief washed over him. Why would they want to recognize him? Why now? But with each cheer from the audience, Tom felt an invisible force pull him to the front. As he approached the stage, the applause thundered and the warmth enveloped him. Gratitude surged through his veins as the principal explained the impact he had made on everyone, how his kindness, laughter, and commitment influenced the lives of so many. Standing there, feeling all the eyes on him, tears filled his eyes. "This is just as much for all of you," he finally said into the microphone, his voice shaking with emotion. "Each of you makes this place feel like home for me." Audience erupted into even louder cheers, and Tom felt the weight of love and appreciation wrap around him like a comforting blanket. The students who had once been strangers were now family, and that connection lit up his spirit more than he could have ever imagined. At the close of the assembly, Tom felt lighter, a profound sense of purpose burning brightly. He realized he was more than just a janitor. He was a key part of their journey, a mentor, a friend. He had left footprints on their hearts. As the school year drew to a close, Tom reflected on the transformation that had taken place not just in the students, but within himself. He had learned that value isn't merely defined by titles. It stemmed from the connections we forge and the support we offer one another in times of need. As summer settled in and the school emptied, Tom felt bittersweet. He had spent countless hours mopping floors, but now he understood that every floor he cleaned and every corner he tidied served a purpose greater than structure or cleanliness. It was about love, support, and belonging. On his last day before the summer break, as he locked up the school for the season, he turned around to gaze at the plaque one last time. It gleamed in the setting sun. His name there stood as a reminder of where he had come from and of how far he had traveled. Tom walked outside, letting the fresh air wash over him, feeling the warmth of possibility crackling around him. With a heart full of gratitude, he stepped into the next chapter of his life, ready to embrace whatever awaited him. No longer just the janitor who mopped the floors, he had become a vital part of a vibrant story, filled with dreams, laughter, and love. Tomorrow awaited, brimming with potential, and he was ready to meet it head-on. The sound of a mop gliding across the floor echoed through the empty halls of Crestwood High, a rhythmic swish that filled the silence before the storm of students arrived. Tom, the janitor, was deep into his routine, sweat beading on his forehead as he pushed the mop back and forth. He'd been doing this for years, early mornings, late nights, an endless cycle of cleaning up after the chaos that education inevitably wrought. But this morning was different. The dusty air around him hummed with anticipation, a feeling he couldn't quite shake. He rounded a corner and headed toward the main entrance, the sun pouring in through the tall windows, illuminating the path before him. As he approached the door, something glinted in the corner of his eye. Curiosity tinged with a hint of trepidation swelled within him. It was a plaque that he had passed by countless times but never truly noticed. He muttered to himself, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow. He leaned the mop against the wall and stepped closer, allowing the soft beam of sunlight to reveal the words. Tom's heart raced. He scanned the names etched on the surface, a list of faculty members, coaches, and staff names that symbolized dedication and hard work. Then his breath caught. He blinked hard, stepping back as disbelief washed over him. His name here, among these esteemed people. His heart began to pound, hope and confusion swirling within him like a storm. For years, Tom had seen himself as just the janitor, the invisible man who cleaned up after the messes left behind by students and teachers alike. But this was validation, recognition for all the hard work he had done. Memories began to flood in, each one a little flash of light helping students find their way to class, kindly advising a shy kid on his first day, cleaning up spills at the annual bake sale, all those moments where he had gone above and beyond without ever expecting praise. Each act had built up to this very moment, yet he had never expected to be acknowledged like this. As he stood there, contemplating what it all meant, the sound of the bell ringing shattered his reverie. The doors burst open and students flowed in, laughter and chatter filling the air like a vibrant symphony. Tom felt the energy wash over him, pulling him back into the present. With renewed purpose, he straightened his back and greeted the students. He called out, his voice ringing with an enthusiasm he hadn't felt in years. A few heads turned, eyebrows raised, and then bright smiles broke across their faces. "Hi, mister," a girl shouted back, her excitement radiating like sunshine. Tom's heart soared as he took in the sea of young faces, chattering and laughing, racing past him with backpacks bouncing on their shoulders. He dived into the day, moving through the school with an unexpected energy. In the classrooms, he exchanged brief pleasantries with teachers, lending a hand where he could with maintenance tasks and repairs. The day unfolded, filled with new interactions that left him feeling vibrant. During lunch, the cafeteria buzzed with life. Students gathered around tables, laughing and eating. Tom moved among them, mopping up spills and gathering trays. Every smile he shared felt like a small part of that plaque, an affirmation of his place in this community. As he neared one table, a few students waved him over. "Mr. Tom," a boy asked, his voice bursting with eagerness. They were struggling with a game of cards, and a few sat back, laughing in mock frustration. "Of course," Tom asked, leaning in with a grin. "Can you explain the rules?" they implored. Tom sat down with them, the mop temporarily forgotten. He explained the game, his voice mixing with theirs as they laughed and joked. In that moment, he no longer felt like an outsider, but like an integral part of their day. Over the weeks, those small interactions blossomed. Tom found himself investing more of his heart into the school. Each whistle and laugh filled the hallways, resonating with the joy he had long hidden away. When a freshman slipped on a wet floor, he was the first to rush over, helping her up and making sure she was okay. The students slowly began to see him, not just as the janitor, but as someone who cared. One afternoon, Tom saw a group of students huddled around a bulletin board, animatedly discussing their entry for the upcoming talent show. Their eyes sparkled with excitement, and he couldn't help but be drawn in. He asked, stepping closer. A girl exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. The others nodded in agreement, clearly thrilled with their plan. "Maybe you should add a song to it. Everyone loves a good sing-along," Tom suggested, hoping to inspire them further. "Great idea, Mr. Tom," one boy replied, a light bulb seemingly going off in his head. Tom watched them weave ideas together, smiling at how effortlessly they bounced creativity off one another. As he stepped back to let them work, he felt a surge of pride swelling in his chest. This was what it was all about, being part of something larger, contributing more than just cleaning floors. As the talent show approached, he found himself deepening his connections with the students. Each laugh, each shared secret added another thread to the tapestry of their collective experience. They weren't just passing through life, they were sparking joy in one another, and Tom felt woven into every moment. On the day of the talent show, excitement buzzed around Crestwood High. The auditorium was packed with parents, siblings, and friends, all eager to support the students. Tom stood backstage, feeling like he was living in a dream. The atmosphere thrummed with adrenaline. As the first act took the stage, a wave of nervousness washed over him. But as the lights dimmed and the spotlight shone, he couldn't help but smile. Each performance became a celebration of who they were, a showcase of minds and hearts unbridled by fear. Finally, it was the turn of the dance group he had encouraged. They stepped onto the stage, faces glowing with the thrill of performing. Tom's heart raced as he caught their eye from the wings. He mouthed, words seeming to flow unbidden. As the music started, their movements unfolded like a story, each beat punctuated by laughter and joy. The audience erupted into cheers, and Tom felt a warmth washing over him. They were shining, truly shining, and he had played a small role in that glow. After the show, he stepped outside to take a breath, heart still thumping in his chest. The stars twinkled above, casting a soft glow on the school that felt like home. He had witnessed something extraordinary, that night, twinkling lives filled with dreams and passion, and he felt honored to be part of it. But as the weeks rolled on, whispers of change began to surface. The school was preparing for budget cuts, and murmurs of layoffs trickled through the hallways. Tom tried to shake off the rumors, focusing on his work, but a knot of worry began to tighten in his stomach. One afternoon, he overheard a conversation in the teacher's lounge. "They're cutting more staff, including maintenance," one teacher said. "Can you believe it?" Tom felt his heart sink. He had poured so much of himself into this place, this golden community of laughter and dreams. The thought of losing his job weighed heavily on him, but he forced himself to push those fears aside. Just days later, the storm of uncertainty hit hard. The principal called for an emergency assembly. As students took their seats, the air was thick with dread. Tom stood at the back, breathless, heart drumming a frantic rhythm against his chest. The principal stepped up to the microphone, her voice drowning out the noise, but Tom could only see the worry in her eyes. "Due to budget cuts, we regret to inform you that several positions will be eliminated," she announced, her voice wavering slightly. Tom's heart dropped as gasps and murmurs rippled through the auditorium. Time seemed to slow as he processed the enormity of the moment. What would happen to him? What would happen to the students who had come to see him as more than just their janitor? Applause for him earlier felt like a ghostly echo now, fleeting and ethereal. He looked around the room, faces he had grown to care for, students he had nurtured through laughter and hard days. The weight of loss settled in deep, overshadowing the vibrant connections they had made. When the assembly concluded, Tom walked to the door, feeling lost and adrift. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows on the ground as he stepped outside. The world felt different, heavy, burdened, uncertain. But then he paused. The entrance plaque gleamed in the fading light, words flickering like a beacon. He stepped closer, hunger for belonging surging within him. His name was still there, standing as a testament to everything he had done, everything he had fought for. But what did it mean if he were to lose it all? Determined, Tom made a vow to himself at that moment. "I will fight for this place," he whispered. He was not just a name on a plaque, he was a part of the very soul of Crestwood High, and he would do whatever it took to protect that soul. As he looked down the hallway filled with memories and so many lives, he felt the fire ignite deep within him. Tomorrow he would make his voice heard, tomorrow he would take a stand. Yet as he exited the building, the uncertainty loomed large in his mind, casting a long shadow over the resolve that fueled him. Could he truly make a difference? Would he be able to rally the community behind him? And even if he succeeded, what would that look like? As he stepped out into the brightening dusk, a sense of both fear and determination mingled in the air, leaving him at a powerful crossroads. The next chapter awaited, ready to be written, but the outcome hung precariously in balance, just like his future at Crestwood High. It was now up to him to figure out how to weave a new narrative from his fear, his hopes, and the family he had forged within these walls. Only time would tell if he was up to the challenge.